Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Zahra here. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm in a kind of loud place. Okay. So I decided to do this live because I have my monthly Keys to Love series, which is a series that supports you to let go of all resistance and blocks to love so that you can welcome in the amazing love that you want into your life. And okay, great. Thank you for letting me know you guys can hear. And in that group, I have a private Instagram group for everyone who is enrolled in those sessions. And this topic of du'as has come up. And so most of us grew up learning about dua taught in the traditional way that, you are supposed to ask for whatever you want. You're supposed to ask Allah. Allah loves it when we ask. You're even supposed to ask for, your bootstrap. You are be grateful that you're able to ask, right? Like that in and of itself is such a blessing, and don't even worry about how it's going to be responded to. And then, of course, ask with full certainty, knowing that Allah will respond to you. And there's 3 ways that your dua will be responded to, that you'll be responded to now, and you'll get it. Or Allah will remove some harm from you, or Allah will save it for you in Jannah, right? That's the standard way that most of us have learned it. And I'm not saying anything against that. I'm just saying that's the way that it's been taught to us. What I'd like to add to this conversation, to this discussion, is additional nuance and thoughts and elements to it, so it can support us now as we're making dua. Especially right now is Ramadan. We're moving into the last 10 nights. We are supposed to ask for anything and everything that we want. And so we now, want to have full faith in those du'as. We want to be asking for everything of this dunya and everything of the hereafter, and know and believe and trust that we're going to have it. So the nuance that I want to share is that for me, how it felt for me, and I am just a regular girl. I am not a sheikh. I am not a scholar. I, do not have an ijaza. I'm just a regular Muslim girl, okay? So if you don't like something I have to say, or if you disagree, or if your sheikhs told you something else, listen to who you want to listen to, follow who you want to follow. If you're listening to me, evaluate it for your own self, reflect on it, talk to whoever you need to talk to. But take what you want to take, leave what you want to leave, okay? So for me, how it felt growing up was that it felt like Allah was holding out on me. And because I had this feeling that Allah is holding out on me, it basically corrupted kind of my relationship with Allah. I had a low level of resentment towards Allah. Like, why isn't Allah giving me this? And why isn't Allah giving me from that? And what is He protecting me from? What are all these protections that I can't see, that I don't know about? And why can't I have it here? Why can't He protect me and I get it here? I just had all of these questions that I couldn't reconcile. And because I couldn't make sense of it, because I was doing all the things, because I was trying so hard to be good, because I was praying, because I was asking, I'm doing everything right, why am I not getting it? And this, I only really appreciated this later on in life. But the appreciation that came was oh my gosh, I don't trust Allah. I don't trust Allah. I think He's not on my side. I feel like He's against me. I feel like He's holding out on me. And I have some resentment. Yeah, I'm asking God, but, whatever. I'm here struggling on my own. I'm not going to get the things I want. I'm not going to be able to live the life I want. I just get to watch other people doing it. And I don't know why not me. So if you felt that way, it's not a good place. You don't feel good. In general, I did not feel good. I was worried and anxious, low level worried and anxious. And I'm talking about when I'm a teenager. So 20 years ago, I'm worried and low-level anxious, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I good? Am I being good enough? Am I a good enough Muslim? Am I nice enough to my parents? Am I doing the right thing? It made me a people pleaser. It made me just accommodate everyone. It made me into all of these things because I'm just so desperately trying to get Allah to deem me worthy. Like, am I worthy yet? Do I get it yet? Can I have it yet? Like, when is it enough? When have I done enough? When will I, be one of the lucky ones? And as an adult, not an adult, but as someone who's kind of gone through an evolution in how I think about these things, what I feel now is that me believing that about dua harmed my relationship with Allah. And since then, I have changed my relationship with Allah, with how I view dua. Yes, Nzinga. And when I changed how I viewed dua and believing what I could have and not have, it changed my relationship with Allah for the better. So what I now believe is that I can ask Allah for things and I can have them now. I can believe that I can have them now. So already, within dua, we are told to believe with certainty that your dua is answered, and to know that it's been accepted. But because of the way I was taught about dua, I would believe, yeah, Allah's heard me, He's accepted it, but you know what? Okay, it's been a week, it's been 2 weeks, it's been a month, it's been a year. All right, that one's saved for Jannah. You're like, all right, fine, that one's saved for Jannah. And that over time, that constant feeling of okay, my duas I'm not going to get them now, I'm going to get them all in Jannah, pulls me away, right? It's creating this resentment which pulls me away, which is, I don't want to, what's the point of asking? It's all going to be saved for Jannah. And all right, let me just try and make do with what I have here now, even though, I want more. And then what am I supposed to do with all of these wants and desires? I keep wanting more. I see other people get more and I'm wanting more. And I'm talking more in terms of worldly and spiritually. I want to elevate in all sorts of ways, and I'm feeling, okay, I'm not, and I can't, because it's all going to be saved for Jannah. All right, so here's my issue with this. If we start with that, we are supposed to be asking Allah for the things that we want. And most of these desires on our heart, where did those desires come from? Allah placed those desires on our heart, right? Allah placed the desire for you to, want to write that book or do that project or have that loving, amazing relationship or go visit these different places and see that, or work with animals or support this cause or this charity or build that school or, take care of these orphans, right? Each of us, we're all not the same. We all have different things that we're interested in. We all have different hobbies, different causes, different things that move us and motivate us. Where did each of our unique individual desires come from? Our true, pure desires come from? They came from Allah. Allah gave us those desires. And then Allah, and this beautiful reflection came from Ruqayyah's bookshelf, and I can't think of her name right now, but her handle is Ruqayyah's bookshelf. She's an author. And she wrote this beautiful reflection on Allah will not burden a soul with more than he can bear. And we're all grow up, right, hearing that verse and understanding it as whatever trial or tribulation that you're going through, know that you can handle it, because Allah is not going to burden you with more illness, more sickness, more death, more whatever than you can bear. You will be able to handle it. So it gives us comfort when we're going through these difficult moments. But Ruqayyah's bookshelf shared, she's like, I also believe that applies to our desires that we want. Allah would not burden you with the desire of wanting to write the book, of wanting to start the company, of wanting to create this invention, of wanting to have this loving marriage. He would not burden you with this desire if you could not support you to achieve it. That would be more than you could bear. That is heartbreaking, right? If there's been a dream that you've given up on, you know that it just crushes a part of you. Okay, I can't have this, I can't make this, I can't do this. It crushes a part of you. And that is, for many people, more than they can bear. It will dim their light, it will diminish them, it will shrink them down. And so, I do not believe that Allah will burden us with our desires for the things that we want and then say, but you can't have it, right? But you can't have it. And there's no way that you can have it. And you're never going to get it. And you're only going to get it in Jannah. And it'll be morphed into some other thing. I do not believe that. What I believe is that when we make dua and we are asking Allah, what we really have to appreciate is that our dua is answered through us. We are the ones who bring about our dua. If I'm making dua to get married, it is going to be me in my demeanor, in my actions, in my behavior, in how I think, and how I relate to others, and how I go about my life that is going to create that loving marriage, right? It is not that Allah is just dropping people down to the sky from us. Same thing, like if you want to write a book or do some creative project, you're going to have to do the work, get the training, learn, and make an investment, all of these different things to be able to create that creative project. Your dua is answered through you. And so what I now believe is that we do have the capacity to manifest our duas in this life, and that in doing so requires, right, action and faith. And I always come back to, there's so many different stories. But when we think about all of the prophets, peace be upon them all, right? In many cases, they knew the success of their message. They knew the truth, right? They knew the truth of their message, obviously, and they knew that it would have some level of success. They maybe did not know exactly what kind of level, but they knew that it would have some level of success. And just because they knew that and had faith in that and had trust in that did not mean that the road was easy, right? Actually, in every case and in every life, the road is hard. The road is difficult. There are challenges. And I think what we have missed when we are thinking about dua is that we're too short-sighted. Many of our duas are still in process, right? If you're making dua for $1 million, for a multi-million-dollar company, for a dream relationship, for, luxurious travel trips, for going to Jannah, for all of these things, they're still in process. A lot of different things have to take place and rearrange and come together and fall apart in order for that dua to become real. And you can think about this for previous duas that you made. What do you have in your life right now that you made dua for? Maybe it's, finishing a degree, or, moving to another state or a country or whatever. Think about those things and what was the whole windy path that it took for that thing to actually happen, right? And you will see that a lot of different things had to occur. So for many of us, our duas are still in process. So our duas are still in process, but we are being short-sighted and being like, okay, it hasn't been answered. Okay, I'm going to bank this for Jannah. And when we fall back on that, I'm going to bank this for Jannah, or this is going to be something that's given to me in Jannah, it diminishes our capacity now. It diminishes our ability now to put in the work and the effort that we need to put in, and to be able to continue to have that long-term view for what we want. All right. So I hope this is making sense. I saw maybe someone had a question earlier. I just don't want to miss it. But what if Medina had asked, but what if a certain someone is not really good for you, and then definitely Allah will protect you? Okay, the other piece about this is that Allah is always protecting you. Allah is always guiding you and always protecting you. Allah is always guiding you and always protecting you. Allah is always on your side. Allah wants you to succeed. Allah wants you to be successful. Allah wants you to have love, to have prosperity, to have health, to have wealth. What is the Quran? The Quran is our guidebook, our prescription for how we can do that. It tells us to how to live a life. It tells us what to eat. It tells us how to connect with God. It tells us how to interact with people. It tells us all of these things, how to move our bodies, all of these things. Why? So you can be happy, healthy, wealthy, connected to people, have strong relationships, right? It lays out boundaries. It lays out everything. Allah wants you to have it all. Allah wants us to have it all. So this other shift within me is so powerful because otherwise you're coming at it from a deficiency. Well, Allah only wants me to be healthy but not have love. Or Allah only wants me to be rich but not, have good family relations. Or we come at it like Allah only wants parts for me and not all of it. But that is absolutely untrue. The Quran lays out guidelines for all of us so that if you follow them, you would have it all, right? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had it all, right? He was a leader. He had family. He had prosperity in the sense that all his needs were met. Yes, we may not call him wealthy in terms of like he had mounds of money and riches, but there was nothing that the Prophet was in want for that he could not have. Anything that he didn't have, it was by choice that he didn't have it. He could have, had mountains of wealth. He could have been a king, and he chose not to be. So he had prosperity and abundance in that sense that whatever he needed was always flowing to him. So he had abundance, he had health, he had wealth, he had family, and this is our example. A person who had it all. So for anyone to be sitting here and thinking like, all right, well, I can't have this, I can't get married, good thing I have a good career and my family loves me, and I don't think I'm going to get married, I'm just going to let that go. It's wrong. It's, in my opinion, it's just wrong thinking. You are limiting the majesty of Allah. You are limiting the majesty of your own self. You are limiting we are just putting limits where there were no limits. We are putting limits where there were no limits. Okay? So yes, anything that we don't receive in this life will be stored for us in Jannah. But the question is, do you want to receive it in this life? Do you want to receive it in this life? Because if you do, you are going to move and operate differently than if you give up and assume that you cannot have it. That is your opinion of Allah, right? The other way that my change in how I viewed Allah really impacted me, because we know that we are supposed to have a good opinion of Allah. And I know when I thought this way about all my du'as are saved for me in Jannah, it made me have a low opinion of Allah. Allah's holding, the lectures tell you that. Don't think that Allah is being stingy. Don't think that Allah can't do it. Don't think that things are too difficult for Allah, right? Allah can do anything, and Allah is most generous. So when I shifted to have that view, Allah can do anything and Allah is most generous. Allah can give this to me now and I want it now, and I'm going to do my part and I'm going to trust that Allah is going to do his part. Oh my God, like things just started flowing into my life because it is our belief that we can have it. It is our belief that we can have it that is the initial trigger for us to receive it. Without our belief that we can receive, we will not receive. Because Allah says, I am as my servant expects me to be. So he puts the onus on us. As you expect. If you expect that I'm not going to give it to you now, if you expect, I hear all day, every day from women are like, okay, well, I'm waiting on Allah's timing and it's whatever is best for me and maybe Allah's protecting me. And so really all of that couching is just, I don't really expect Allah to give it to me now. I've waited, I've tried, it's been so hard. I've been on the apps, I've talked to the aunties, I've done all the things. I don't expect that it's coming anymore. And I'm just going to console myself with the thought that I'm going to get it in Jannah and Allah is protecting me and all of that. But where is the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says, don't get married? Where's the hadith that says, when he's encouraging people to get married young, he's like, yeah, get married young, but if you're not going to get married, because some of you are not going to get married, so don't worry about it. No, there's never a time. And where is the part in the Quran where Allah says, there's some people who have mates and other people who don't? He says, I've created for you mates. I've created for you mates. I've created for you mates. He didn't say I created some of you mates. I created for a few people mates. I created for the lucky people mates. I created for the truly believing mates. I created for you mates. You have a mate. You have a mate Why would that desire? Why would you want it so bad? Why would it be so heartbreaking? Literally can break your heart. Like, you can go into a depression. You can feel so bad. You can feel so despondent. We are social beings meant to be together. And then for you to believe, well, Allah doesn't want that for me. In my view, that's a low opinion of Allah, and that's a low opinion of yourself. Allah wants that for you, and you can have that for you. And that first belief right there could be the thing that shifts everything for you. Just fully getting into the space within yourself. You know what? Yes, marriage is for me. I am going to get married, and it's going to be amazing. Why? Because what you believe is what you'll expect, and what you expect is what will come. It is literally a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you can't have it, you won't. I think there's even like an Einstein quote, right? It's like, if you say you can, and if you say you can't, you won't. Whatever. But basically, whatever you say, you are right. If you say I can have it, you're right. If you say I can't have it, you're right. Because that statement in and of itself sets in motion your energy, your direction, your attitude towards what you've said to make it true. Because more than anything, our ego wants to be right. Our ego wants to be right. And I have a post on this. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Our ego wants to be right. So if you say, you know what, there's no good men, all the good ones are taken, I believe maybe Allah's protecting me from something, and I'm content, I won't get married now. I don't think, I'll be content with that. I don't think there's someone for me. You'll be right. You'll be right. You will stop looking. You will stop. Even if the perfect person was right in front of you, was right at that iftar, was right at that place, you won't see it. They won't come to you. You'll miss it. Because your belief is that they're not there, so you're not going to see them. You literally will not see them even if they're standing in front of you. That is that is the seal that Allah puts on the hearts and the ears. You've sealed yourself up with that belief. When you believe they are coming, they are here, you will see it. Okay, so I've kind of gone all around on a whole bunch of different things. But we were talking about dua. To summarize, we're talking about dua. We are talking about the traditional way that we've been taught, that for many of us, leaned heavy towards our du'as will be answered in Jannah, and how, from my personal perspective as a regular Muslim girl, that disconnected me from Allah and created a lot of resentment within me. And when I shifted to believe that Allah's supporting me now, here, and I can bring into my life the du'as that I'm requesting now, that when I changed my belief, when I expected Allah to respond to me now, I felt better. First of all, I felt better. I just felt okay, yes, let's work together, God, me and you. What are we, these are the things I want. These are the things I want to do. Yes, I brought energy, vitality. I'm eager to pray now. I feel okay, the point of prayer is to bring things into my life, improve my life. And then B, I got the things. I started getting the things. Oh my God, I just believed I could have them. Because with that energy, I'm responding differently. I'm seeing, oh my gosh, that's an opportunity. Okay, maybe I'm being redirected here. Okay, my whole approach was different. So, and then feeling that I'm always in process, that things are not it hasn't happened yet. It's still in process. It's still unfolding. I mean, there's things that I've been praying for years and years and years that I know are still in process. And I have, you could call it patience or whatever, but it's not even patience. I can see the little signs along the way that it's coming together. And that there is no difficulty for Allah, and I know innately that I am worthy. I'm worthy just because Allah made me, and He created me, so I'm worthy. It's not a question of worthiness. We are all worthy. We are all divine spirits from Allah. We are all worthy. So all of that shift can be so powerful, and I mean, just those two main things, that you will feel better about your relationship with God already, is such a blessing in and of itself. Because to feel like some larger than you entity is against you is, someone asked this question: how do you combat the feeling of despair and prevent yourself from getting jealous? it will just lead you to feeling despair and feeling jealous because you're just watching everyone else get what they want and you're sitting here like, well, why not me? So when you make that shift, you realize, okay, yes, me too. And now I don't, you might still have feelings of jealousy, but nowadays when I get a feeling of jealousy, I get to use that as inspiration. Like, oh, that thing made me jealous. Like, I want it too. And now I can go and ask Allah, I want that too. I didn't even know I wanted that thing. I saw that person doing that thing or having that thing on Instagram. I want it too. Like, that jealousy is just an indication to me, like, ask for that also. You can have it also. It's not an indication for me that, like, oh man, it's another thing I can't have. They are lucky and I'm not, right? It's the difference between abundance mindset and scarcity mindset. All of those things. So, how you view Allah, what you believe is possible, is critical and is key. And if you're following me here on Practical Muslim, that is what I post about all day, every day. My Islamic affirmations are to support you in talking to yourself in a positive way about what's possible. It's safe for me to receive. Many of us don't even realize that, like, I feel like it's unsafe to receive, right? The other messaging we have around dua, oh my God, I need to wrap up this live. But I have so much to say. The other messaging we have around dua is it's unsafe. If I receive, I will make another person feel jealous. So I don't, that internal battle will block you because you're resisting what you want. You're resisting what you want, right? You're resisting what you want because you are worried it's going to make another person feel bad, and you don't want to make another person feel bad because you know how bad you felt. And so even though you're asking for it, you're actually also resisting it. So it's safe for me to receive. Me receiving inspires others to receive, right? These are affirmations. Other things you can use are my Islamic Devotionals, right? Someone's asking, do you recommend any books? I have my PDF book of Islamic Devotionals, and I also have it as an app. And Islamic Devotionals train your mind to hear Allah in a positive way, that He is supporting you and on your side. And when you, again, shift to hear Allah in a positive way, supporting you on your side, that will help you to not feel in despair, and again, not get jealous, and begin to believe in your du'as, and then begin to act in ways as if they're coming towards you, and begin making them happen in your life, and then receive them. And yes, I am going to save this live, and I'm going to wrap it up here because there's so much more I could say. But in my Keys to Love series, I will be doing a whole dedicated session on dua and istikhara, which is going to be much more organized and detailed, because I'll have planned it out and I'll have slides. And so I highly encourage you to attend that session. I have to look at the schedule when that will be. But my dua and istikhara session, and of course I highly encourage you, if you are single, if you are struggling with getting married, if you are feeling like there's no good guys left, there's no one out there for me, Nazinga's saying, I suggest you take Zahra's sessions. Links are in her bio. It's amazing and will straighten you out, inshallah. Yes, I mean, we don't realize how much we've got jumbled. Like, what I'm straightening you out is the untangling of what was, my mind was a huge tangled mess of desires and wants and despair and conflict and hope and fear and faith, but doubt, all of it. And untangling that changed my life and became like, oh my God, why wasn't I taught this earlier? Why didn't I know this earlier? I have to tell everyone. And that is what I'm doing now. I am telling everyone. And so I want you to enroll, invest in yourself, invest in this. The message I have for any single ladies is, your mate is available. You can have your amazing, loving relationship, but you won't get there with the same mindset that makes you feel like you're stuck and there's no good ones and I've tried everything and I don't, and maybe it's not written for me and maybe I'll get it in Jannah. If you have that mindset, you won't get married. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm not trying to say anything against you. I'm saying you will make that true because you don't believe it's possible for you. what that all indicates is you don't believe it's possible for you. So if you want to get married, if you want to admit that to yourself, you know what, I do want that. I really do want it. I don't want to give up on this. I don't want to believe that like this is it for me and I just have to pretend that I'm okay with all of the other amazing stuff in my life. We're not diminishing that your life isn't full and rich and amazing and wonderful, but you can also have that and also have another desire that you want fulfilled. And inshallah, you can fulfill it. But the first step is believing that it can be fulfilled. So join me in the Keys to Love series. I would love to support you to untangle all of this, to get straightened out, as Nzinga said. And no, especially, I mean, tonight, right now is a great time for you to enroll because you have five sessions that are already uploaded for you to dive right into and get yourself ready for the end of Ramadan to be making those powerful du'as and feel in this beautiful month, feel the blessings, feel the mercy, feel yourself in that spirit that I can have this now. I do not have to wait. And literally, if like, it also doesn't make any sense that of all the women who say, okay, well, maybe it's not for me, maybe it's not for me, it's like all the women. So just means like most people are not getting married anymore. Like, okay, I could understand if like, fine, marriage is written for, 80% of people and 20% not. But basically all the rest of the single women are like, well, it's not written for me. So it's like, okay, 50% of people are not supposed to get married. Like that mathematically doesn't make sense by what we know that Allah has shared with us, right? I created for you mates. Getting married is a protection. Get married young. All of these things. And then somehow like, no. For me, I am one of the unlucky ones. You are not one of the unlucky ones. You are one of the lucky ones. Get lucky. Change your mind. And make dua with that belief. Make dua knowing that you can have it now. And you have the capacity to do what it takes to have it now. And Allah is on your side. All right. With that, I will now finally end. Join me in Keys to Love. This will be saved. And inshallah, you can DM me any questions you have. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.